Good morning, class 9 students. I welcome you all on this online platform provided by Jagrati Classes. Today we are going to start a new chapter of class 9, that is chapter 13, Why Do We Fall Ill? This is a very interesting and very easy chapter. We'll be discussing some of the concepts of this chapter, okay? So, firstly, before starting the chapter, you have two words, that is, one is ill here, okay? This is ill. So why do we fall ill? Before coming to this topic, that is to the name of the chapter, that why do we fall ill, my first question for you would be, what is the meaning of ill? And ill here means whenever we get a certain kind of disease or something, we call that we are ill. And this disease, so we'll be discussing first some concepts or some interesting terms which you use continuously in your day-to-day life. But what is the exact meaning of these terms which we use? The first one is ill. Ill, I told you, ill means whenever some person is suffering from certain kind of disease, he or she is attributed to be ill. So ill means whenever we are having disease. But whenever we do not have any kind of disease, can we call our state to be healthy? That is, I want you to differentiate between two terms, health or a healthy person and a disease-free person or disease-free individual. Are both these terms same? Healthy means what? If we talk in a general sense, okay, before going into the concepts, if we talk that disease is when you are ill, ill means you have certain kind of disease, certain kind of abnormalities, or if your organs or any kind of part, our body part is not functioning well, we can say that we have sort of some disease. But I am telling you healthy means what? Healthy means we say that a person is healthy if he does not has any kind of disease. But is the term health and disease free having any kind of difference between them? That is, if I say a person is disease free, if a person is having no kind of disease, then is he or she considered to be healthy? So this is the first concept which you have to deal with in this chapter. Okay, till now I know we all are using both these terms, disease free and a healthy person, to be the synonyms, because we say, if we ask any person that do you have any disease, and if I get the reply that no, I am having no kind of disease, so will I consider that person to be healthy? Before reading this chapter you say definitely ma'am, we'll consider that person to be healthy because she is not having any kind of disease. But this is not so. We cannot call a disease-free person a healthy person. Okay, so now let's start the chapter, because I know all of you are very curious to know that what is the difference between both these terms. These terms are completely alike. So let's see the difference between being healthy and being disease-free. So the first point in being healthy is, it is a state of being well enough to function well physically, mentally, and socially. And before this, okay, let me write the definition of health. So, if I write down the definition of health, then health is what? Health is a state of physical, mental and social well-being of any organism. According to science, according to this chapter of biology, you will define health that it is a state of complete physical, mental, social, okay, physical, mental, social, emotional would come in mental, of course. Emotions we'll be dealing in mental state. So physical, mental, social well-being. Of any organism. So when an organism is well enough in all these aspects, that is in all the three aspects, physical, mental and social, then that organism would be only called as healthy. So health is, remember, health is not disease free. That is, if you are disease free, if you are physically and mentally fit, you cannot be termed as healthy if you are socially unwell or socially unfit. Okay? So health is a state of complete well-being of an organism in all the three aspects, that is physically, mentally and socially. So such person would be regarded as a healthy person, and health is such a state. Now let's move on again to the difference between being healthy and being disease-free. So understand these concepts, okay? These are very easy. You just need to focus and understand what is the mere difference between the two terms. Healthy is, it is a state of being well, enough to function well physically, mentally and socially. So if you are completely well in all these three aspects, then you would be regarded as being healthy. But disease-free is what? It is a state of absence from diseases. Okay, now you can see the difference. Disease-free means the person does not has any kind of disease, but it does not mean the person is healthy. Let's suppose the person is having no kind of disease, so he is feeling physically very fit. Then because he does not have any disease, he is mentally well also. Mentally well means he or she is emotionally strong. Okay, they do not just get sad or happy and excited at just some moments. So if a consider is physically strong, mentally strong, but not socially well, that is, if the person lacks social etiquettes, if he or she cannot take any kind of stand, or if he or she cannot interact with other kinds of persons in his environment or surroundings, then that person would not be referred as healthy. But she would be definitely disease free. If someone is physically fit, she is socially very interactive, but they are suffering from some kind of mental stress, depressions, then that person is not having any kind of disease, but he or she is mentally unwell or mentally unfit at the moment. So we cannot refer such person as healthy, while all the person who are having no kind of disease can be regarded as disease free. So an important conclusion comes out here: not all disease-free persons are healthy. Okay? So disease-free does not mean you are healthy. Then the next is what? It refers to individual, physical and social environment. This being healthy depends on his or her physical and social environment, while being disease-free, it refers only to the individual. We are only dealing with individual here, but healthy, it depends on personal aspects of the person with the community aspects also. Because here a term social is being involved, and this social term or social aspect is guided by the nearby surroundings or the nearby community. Whereas being disease-free, it depends only on the individual itself. The next is what? The individual has good health, and the individual may have good health or poor health. If a person is healthy, then definitely she would possess very good health. But if the person is disease-free, this does not mean he or she has a good health. We do not know, because health is what? Being completely well in all the three aspects. And here being disease-free means you may be physically fit, but if you are not well mentally, or you are not having social behavioral etiquettes, then you may have good health or you may have a poor health. So healthy means the person is definitely having a health state, but being disease-free does not symbolize his health. So this is the basic difference. I hope you understood. You have to remember just one definition if you can, that healthy means when a person has a complete well-being, that is in physical, mental and social and economical aspects, but disease-free only means absence of disease. From the term disease-free, you cannot judge a health of the person, that is his health might be poor or his health might be good. Okay, now as we have done health, so let's write one more definition here. As we defined health, now we'll define disease in a similar manner. So disease is what? See, from the word itself you can see dis in ease. Ease is what? Ease is our comfort zone, comfort level. And disturbance in our ease is termed as disease. So disease is a disturbed ease, that is any condition which disturbs our comfort. This condition would be called as disease here. Okay, so disease is any sort of conditions, either any of our tissues or body parts are not working well. So we'll say we have a disease because due to these sort of conditions, we do not feel more comfortable or as much comfortable as we should. So we say that our ease or comfort is being disturbed, and this condition is referred to as disease. Now in this chapter, we classify disease into various parts. See, classification of disease. The first classification which you have to study is acute disease and chronic disease. Okay? Disease can also be referred to as illness. So either the disease can be acute or chronic. This classification is based on what criteria? It is based on the time duration of the disease. That is, for how much time do you had that disease, then you can classify disease into two different parts, acute and chronic. Now there is one more classification of disease, and this classification of disease, it is based on the criteria of mode of transfer. If the disease can be transferred, then such diseases are referred to as infectious disease, and the disease which do not get transferred, then these are called as non-infectious. Now these all you have, this classification you have done in your junior classes. This is somewhat new, but it is therefore very easy also. So infectious disease is also known as communicable. Now you remember, communicable you have done. So infectious and communicable is one of the same category here. And non-infectious is known by what name? Correct. It is known as non-communicable disease. So non-infectious means the diseases which are non-communicable, and infectious means the communicable disease. So firstly we'll be seeing acute and chronic disease. So disease can be classified, I told you, into two kinds. The first one is acute, the next one is chronic. Acute diseases are those diseases which occur for a short term or a short period of time, and chronic are what? Which occurs for a long term or long period of time. Okay? Acute diseases, because these are for few days, few hours to days, then such diseases, they have less effects. They cause less effects on our body compared to chronic diseases. Chronic diseases, you can say that these diseases are more harmful compared to the acute one, because these chronic diseases are for a very long time. It may take weeks to months and even years. And these diseases, they produce so many side effects on our body, on the other organs of the body also. So let's see the differentiating points between the two kinds of diseases, acute and chronic. Acute diseases, these diseases are short-term diseases. As I told you, acute means for a very short time. Whereas chronic diseases, these are also called as long-term diseases. Then the next is, these diseases come fast and recover quickly. That is, their duration may be, you can say, few hours to days, and maximum to week. But chronic disease, if we talk about, then these sort of diseases, they come and recover very slowly. These diseases may affect an individual for weeks and even up to certain years you can say. Okay, so such diseases are known as chronic because they have a very long time in an individual, and with these they also produce much side effects, as I already told you. Whereas acute diseases, the side effect of these diseases are very less, or they have no kind of side effects. These now acute diseases, they recover completely. Whereas chronic, there is no guarantee that you will recover completely from chronic disease. These diseases do not recover completely. They are present with the individual. Some kind of chronic disease is always present with the individual, either in a very smaller form, but they may be present. But now our science has developed so much in the medical sector that most of the diseases which were chronic, that is they had a long term, but now side effects are being reduced and their cure is being completely done. Okay? So now this is the contribution of science in the medical sector, that is chronic diseases are now cured of to major extent. So now this is the difference. I hope you understood. For example, if I tell you the example or the comparison between both these diseases. So acute disease, you can take it to any disease like viral fever. Okay, viral fever, it lasts for short term, that is for some days, and then you can say side effects are very less. That is, whenever you are in viral fever, then only you feel tired, or someone feels headache and everything. You do not like to eat. So these are the side effects. But as soon as the viral fever goes off, then these side effects also vanish. So we say that side effects of disease are less and they also vanish with the disease. And these diseases, they recover completely. Yes, from viral fever we can recover completely. But chronic disease, if I give you a simple example like for cancer. So cancer is a kind of chronic disease. It is a long-term disease. Okay, it is not that you can recover from cancer in 2 to 3 days. No, this is not possible. And these diseases come and recover very slowly. So cancer attacks on a person very slowly. During cancer, all the cells, body cells, they get destroyed slowly, and now this cancer can be from months to years. It even lasts in an individual for certain years too. Then the side effects are very harmful. That is the cancer which is destroying your body cells. The person always feels tired. Then he or she also suffers hair loss, okay, from the head and other body parts. Then you also have many kind of side effects which may retain in the individual body even after the destruction of cancer completely. And these diseases do not recover completely. I told you, now the medical science has gone many advancements that chronic diseases are also being completely cured. You might have known the examples of certain individuals also, okay, in whose diseases are completely cured. But here we are saying, compared to the acute diseases, these chronic diseases do not recover completely, or they take a very long time to get recovered completely. So these are the basic difference between the acute disease and the chronic disease which you have in front of you. So next is what you are given a term, a comparative study in your books, and the example which is being involved, it is common cold and tuberculosis. So here common cold, okay, this is a kind of acute disease which you have, whereas tuberculosis, it is a category, it comes from the category of chronic disease. So common cold is an acute disease. Acute means what? It is regarded as a short-term disease, that is, it would last from few days to weeks, maximum up to some weeks. But when this common cold, it attacks on the lungs and your respiratory system, it may get transferred to a chronic form of disease which is called tuberculosis. So tuberculosis is a kind of chronic disease here, and chronic means it is a long-term disease, that is, it may continue up to several years, and this has a very devastating effect on the health of individual. Then we learned that chronic diseases are those diseases which also produce side effect and they take time to get recover. So you can include both the points here, that is chronic disease, they get time to recover and side effects are also produced. Whereas coming on again to acute kind of disease, which is common cold, these diseases, they are short-term diseases. No kind of side effects are produced, or you can say side effects are very low, or even in common cold we do not have some kind of side effects, then these, they are recovered very quickly. Okay? So these are the two different cases which you have been given in your books. That is the comparison between common cold and tuberculosis. So I hope you have understood the comparison. This tuberculosis, because it is a long-term disease, it may be associated with certain side effects. That is, the person may feel fatigue or tiredness every time, and it may be accompanied by other factors like which are given in your book: headache, constant fever, shivering, etc. So these are some of the side effects produced in a chronic disease when we are referring to tuberculosis. The next are some questions which are given in your books. These are the in-text questions. The first one is, state any two conditions essential for good health. So these are very basic questions. You can do it. And also I have discussed in the introduction of this chapter that there is a difference when we call someone to being healthy and to say he or she is being disease-free. So please do not misinterpret now both the terms. Being healthy and being disease-free are two distinct terms. So this you can answer. You have to just state any of the two conditions which we discussed which are essential for good health. That is, you can include the person should take balanced diet, he or she should be physically fit, we should perform regular exercises, balanced diet, physical hygiene, community hygiene, anything you can involve. Then the next one is, state any two conditions essential for being free of disease. That is, in the first you are required to answer according to good health. It means you have to include all the aspects of the person, and the three important aspects for any person to be completely healthy is what? He or she should be healthy socially, physically, and mentally. So accordingly you can answer involving all these points in the first question, whereas the second one gives you is required to answer that when a person is disease-free. So to be disease-free, we should maintain hygiene, and this hygiene refers to the individual or the personal hygiene. Then the next point which you can involve here is to take a nutritious, balanced diet. Okay? Because we just want to be free of diseases. It is not asked what to do when you have to maintain the person as a healthy person. So these are the differences. And are the answers to the above questions necessarily the same or different? So we'll be writing that the answer to above the questions are necessarily different here. And why the answers are different? Because in the first question you are being asked for a good health, and in the next question you are being asked for being free of diseases. And we have already discussed a comparative account among both the things. That is, when you want to be free of disease, it does not means, or it does not signifies that a person who is free of disease will have a good health. We discussed in the last point of comparison that when a person is disease-free, we cannot say that either the person has a good health or the person possesses a poor health. So accordingly, according to that concept, we can say that the answers to both the above questions are significantly different. Now you have some other questions, in-text questions given in your CBSE books. The first one is, list any 3 reasons why you would think that you are sick and ought to see a doctor. Then it is given, if only one of these symptoms were present, would you still go to the doctor? Why or why not? So this is again a very basic question, and the answer to this question may differ on individual basis. Let's suppose if I have to answer this question, I'll be writing that list any 3 reasons why you think you are sick. So if I'm having fever, or let's suppose I have some gastrointestinal troubles like vomiting, or if I am suffering from common cold, okay, which means cold and cough. So these 3 symptoms would actually mean a presence of disease. And then it is asked that if only one of the symptoms were present, will you still go to the doctor? So the answer would be definitely yes. If any one of the symptom is also present, we should consult a doctor, because it might be that when we are not able to recover from the home remedies or any other remedies which we are taking, then it might signify that the individual may have certain kind of chronic disease also. So it's better to consult with the doctor or any physician and then take the prescribed medicines accordingly. So the next is, in which of the following case do you think the long-term effects on your health are likely to be most unpleasant? The three choices which are given: if you get jaundice, if you get lice, and if you get acne. Why? So the most long-term effect causing disease in all the three, that is in case of acne, lice and jaundice, is basically jaundice. Because this jaundice, we all know jaundice affects on the liver of organism, and it produces a devastating effect on the liver of organism. So comparing jaundice to lice and acne, these are acute disease, okay? These are even superficial. They do not cause any harm to the body organs or to the internal tissues. While talking about jaundice, it causes harm on the liver, and jaundice is a kind of chronic disease. It means that it would have long-term effect on the liver. So it is better that for jaundice, everyone consults with the doctor. But in the case of lice and acne, these are a kind of acute disease. Okay? So among these three, the most devastating or long-term effects would be produced by jaundice and lice or acne, because lice or acne are acute disease compared to jaundice. So this completes the first topic from your chapter, Why Do We Fall Ill? And I hope now you have understood with the concepts that what is the exact definition of health, and if someone is disease-free, that is, if any individual is having no kind of disease, it does not mean that the individual is completely fit, because for an individual to be completely healthy, he or she should be well in all the three aspects, and the three important aspects which guide our health are physical well-being, social well-being, and the third one is mental well-being. So whenever a person is fit in all the aspects, physical, social and mental, then only he or she can be regarded as healthy. Or otherwise we can call them to be disease-free, but we cannot call them to be healthy. So thank you for joining today's class. Now from next class onwards, we'll be starting the further topics, that is the next classification of disease, communicable or non-communicable. And then we'll be seeing some disease which are caused by certain microbes. So keep following us and keep studying at your homes. And if you have any sort of queries or doubts, you can contact us anytime. Thank you for joining today and keep supporting.